Welcome everyone to another Mothering Wisdom Mondays. Being here in divine timing, having a few techie issues with my camera, but we're here now. So, it's good to be here with all of you. Thank you for joining me. My name is Sonia Reese. Welcome to another Mothering Wisdom Mondays. Taking a few breaths here as we join together. If you're joining me now live, or perhaps you'll be joining me at a different time, welcome, welcome. It's a beautiful time to connect right now during these times, in this moment, dropping in for all of you mamas here, all you parents. Thank you, mamas, for birthing. Thank you for rebirthing yourself. What's coming in today is parenting with joy. Joy. Yeah, so joy is a reflection of the soul. We, as beings, fell here as stardust, and our children have landed here, and they're here to seed a new future. They're here to support in the evolution, just as you are, just as your mother and father. And as mothers, I'm speaking on mothers since I'm a mother in this life, that we're here to shepherd our children. We're here to support them. We're here to guide them. So it's a deep honor to be a mother. It's a deep honor to shepherd these beings into their own life. How many of you are living your life in joy? How many of you have forgotten your joy? Joy is different than happiness. We can go around in the world and we can look happy. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? But what's going on in the inside? What's going on in the inside? So breathing in to, joy is an emanation of the soul. Joy is a deep, penetrative feeling that is inspired. Joy is the fruit of spirit. So joy is deep-rooted, inspired happiness. Something that you can't pretend. And how many of you have lost your joy? How many are living in a place of isolation, or perhaps you are a mother and this time where you're homeschooling or you're at home with your children, you're trying to work, cleaning house, feeding your children, kind of dancing through life, or maybe it doesn't feel like a dance, it feels more like a struggle. And that joy is not found, on the outside, especially during this time of the holidays, joy to the world. I wish joy upon the whole world right now. True soul-inspired joy. That your soul is animated by your spirit. That we dance and play and sing and jump in puddles like our children. Children are more connected to creation to that inner joy. For some of us that lost our joy, we look back at photos and we can see the joy in our eyes. Unfortunately, we can't really go out into the playgrounds right now, or we're out and about taking care of what we need to, and we see children. The other day, just yesterday, I was walking and parents were talking, and this child was just taking in the world, and we locked eyes, and I was smiling at her, and at a somewhat distance, and really connecting. And so ways to connect with your joy is to connect with yourself. When was the last time that you laughed? When was the last time you played? When was the last time you walked barefoot in nature? When was the last time that you felt a soul-inspired gratitude? Like that deep ache of a gratitude, like, so grateful. I know this one really well. The losing of the joy, the separation, the isolation from self, from humanity, from connection. And ironically enough, I have been more in the joy since this whole pandemic. But prior to that, I went on my soul journey and have been on my soul journey and continue to be on the soul journey. And along the way, I lost my joy. I was always one to laugh and play as a child, and my grandmother always shake her head, "Oh, Sonia," she would just laugh like out loud, really loud. And I was actually pregnant with my son. I was living in Baja, and it was a time where all of my friends came back north, and I was isolated. What I felt isolated, I isolated myself. I lived in a trailer not too far from the ocean, which was beautiful. I was living in a situation that wasn't quite inspiring my soul. Was actually the perfect medicine at the time, in retrospect, looking back. But it was a way that illuminated and highlighted what I wasn't connecting with from the inside. That everything on the outside was falling apart, or appeared to be falling apart. I didn't have any friends around, I didn't have family. My financial situation wasn't that great. I was living in a trailer, and that flashlight went within, and I allowed the external life of being in a emotionally abusive relationship to really impact my life. And it's not ever the other person. That other person is there simply to magnify what's going on inside. And so for me, it was magnifying deep despair and discomfort and rage and sadness and sorrow, and really a sense of separation, of like a soul severance. And so in that time, it was, I don't know how long it was, but I woke up one morning. I'm sure Spirit was like, okay, time to wake up out of this. You've been in this state long enough to realize how much it's impacted you. And I was walking that morning, and I realized that I hadn't laughed in a long time. And for me, it's a very natural state of laughing and being in that love and joy for life. And in that moment, during that time, I lost the joy. I couldn't even fake it anymore with happiness, with external happiness. And it was something that really stirred me up inside. I remember where I was on that walk in that moment, and never in my life had I experienced that. So I know what it's like to lose joy. I know what it's like. And it's not something you can find from the external. From that moment, I knew that, there was some soul searching in that moment to really ignite from the inside out, because that's the only way out of it, is to release what's out of alignment within. And so the parents, you all have the joy, or the children have the joy. And for you parents, it's remembering, discovering what that joy is for you and how it can light up your life. And once children are over 7, they really begin their journey, their soul journey. And so they forget sometimes, especially with technology and media. How many of you can get lost in scrolling on social media? How many of you can forget where you're at, or maybe you're out of your body when you're on social media, on technology? And children's bodies and their biodynamic field and energy body is way more sensitive than ours. And so if your child is on the computer a lot, if they're on technology, if it's something to monitor, it's our responsibility as parents to monitor. Maybe we're lost in our technology and we're not even realizing that our children are lost. And that's when we separate. We separate from them when we're on our phones all the time. Some of us who work at home, well, a lot of us are right now, there's a time for it. And then there's a time for just putting it away and connecting with our children, connecting with ourselves without the technology. So joy is an inside job. Children can model this if our children are older, and if you're on a spiritual journey, which a lot of you listening to this, maybe this is new, maybe you're veterans at this. We're always on a soul spiritual journey in this life if we're awakened to it. Spirit knocks on our door, and right now actually we're on a grand spiritual awakening on the planet, where everything is shifting, everything's crumbling, everything's falling apart for reason. There's beauty in the breakdown, and there's really a level of that spiritual growth is trusting in this divine alignment and focusing on the media and outside. That's not where you're going to find the inner joy. The inner joy is within yourself. So breathing here with me, connecting with your breath, releasing a load, releasing the load, maybe on the shoulders, maybe between the shoulder blades, opening the heart, even opening as a sign of a mudra of awakening to this moment, finding your feet on the earth. So that inner soul, that inner joy is unlocked within our purpose. Our purpose is locked up within the joy. So if you're in this discovery of who am I in this moment, we're constantly redefining ourselves in the moment. That's really what it's about. Living life in the unknown, in uncharted waters, being out almost in the middle of the ocean, not knowing what's up or down. I used to surf up in the Northwest in my 20s, and on big stormy days, when it was a little cleaner, I'd go out, and at one point, I fell off my board and I was underneath the ocean, and I struggled to get up, out, and breathe, And it was this like gasping of air, and it that triggers something within. And that happened over and over again. And I remembered one time where that happened, where it was like, wow, I'm really deep under. And there was something in me that just let go. I surrendered and found the most divine inner peace that I had ever felt up until that moment. That act of complete and utter surrender, of letting go, of trust. So it may appear on the outside that everything is all stirring and stirred up. You can't find up from down. And my question to you is, the outside's going to be the outside. How do we change our inner state of being, complete being, and diving in so the smallest little things can bring us joy. And gratitude is an access point. Breathing is an access point. Following our children, our young children, from 0 to 7 and beyond. Just that full expressiveness that emanates from that young child. And we learn, we grow as moms. Our children are our greatest teachers. They can be. Just because we're bigger than them doesn't mean that we dominate. How do we coexist with these little creatures in a harmonious way? Diving deep into the angelic being that you are. And modeling love, unconditional love, joy in the day-to-day. When things get really hard, I remember there's times where things got so hard that at one point I just started laughing, like, really? Really? Have we ever, has that ever happened to you as mom? And instead getting more frustrated, just like laughing, hysterically at what's going on and lightening up and not taking ourselves so seriously. So how can you fill your heart with that joy, that inner joy? How can we raise our children in that joy and contentment? And it's our most natural state of being. In this time of the holy days, buying gifts and running around, and there's nothing wrong with gifts. Just acknowledging that as parents, as mothers, that you are the gift to your child. Try being so present with them, breathing with them, playing with them, looking into their eyes if they're getting right to their level, looking at their eyes and breathing with them, and seeing if you can feel the subtleties of their being, of how angelic they are. And sure, they're going to process you, they really will. They may. Things may come up or it may frustrate you. But really inviting that divine mirror of looking at your child, breathing with them, feeling the love, feeling the joy. And imagination goes a long way. So if there's a lot of stuff piled up in your life right now, just closing your eyes for a moment and just feeling where that joy may reside, and breathing and feeling that light, that inner light within you. Just taking a moment here and pausing and breathing with you. Let's breathe together. Just honoring your journey. Thank you for your love, and thank you for the way that you mother yourself. Maybe you've had to relearn how to mother yourself. Thank you for all the work that you've done in your life and that you continue to do. May you feel love and inspired wisdom within you and the joy. So I'm looking forward to hearing about how this journey of parenting with joy, parenting these star beings with joy in your heart, so that you model that. That's the biggest gift you can give to your children, is to shepherd them in this world with the love and the light in your eyes, that you did the best that you could, and that you continue to grow within yourself. Thank you for joining me today for another magical Mothering Wisdom Mondays. I love you all. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.